So, went and checked out Woman in the Yard. And this was a film that was very much anticipated by myself and my wife and a lot of other people that I've been seeing, on the internet just talking about this film. This movie had no more than one trailer, at least from what I saw, and it didn't give away anything. I did not know what this movie was about outside the fact that this woman comes and sits in another woman's yard and she's just saying today's the day. And there was a lot of creepy shit on the trailer. And it was one of those films where I was like, yo, I got to check this shit out. Like, I know this is going to be an absolute banger. So, was it? No, I was wrong in many ways, and I'm sure a lot of people were disappointed as well. Just based on what I've been seeing on the internet, a lot of people were disappointed. Before we really get into this, let me, of course, remind you again: like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you thought of Woman in the Yard if you've seen it. I keep leaving the off. That's my bad. The Woman in the Yard. Let me know what you thought of it if you've seen it. And yeah, let's dig into this one because I feel like I'm going to spend a little bit of time just really talking through this. So Danielle Deadwyler stars in The Woman in the Yard as Ramona. And this is a woman who is suffering an injury from a car accident that she suffered while being in the car with her husband. And he died. She, well, clearly lived. Or is it clear? Anyway, she lived. And her two kids, they weren't with them at the time or anything like that. But she's raising a teenage son and a young daughter. Um, and they're at this home that apparently she and her husband bought, but it's kind of insinuated that maybe it wasn't a mutual decision that they came to later on in the film. I'm telling you this, and yes, it is a spoiler. It has nothing to do with the woman in the yard, like nothing to do with her at all. This mysterious woman shows up, um, talking very mysteriously and vaguely about something, saying that she was summoned, and a lot of uh terrorizing hijinks ensue, maybe. I don't know if that's the proper terminology here or anything, but you go through a lot of jump scare attempts and a lot of exposition and all that kind of stuff before ultimately you get to the big conflict between Ramona and the woman in the yard. And that's what the next segment of this episode is going to be. The video that's going to follow this is going to be an unapologetically explained segment slash video in which I get into like what happened at the end of this movie and really some of the parts that's throughout it. So in that regard, it's more of a spoiler review type deal like I've traditionally done. But for the sake of this review, which is spoiler free, I'll say these things about it. The film is well made. Like it has a good look and feel to it. Danielle Deadwyler is money when it comes to just being a good actress and conveying emotions and really carrying the weight of complex characters. Like she's really, really good at that. The scares don't land all that well. There are a couple that stand out. There's one in the attic in particular that I enjoyed, but it's not really like you know. It's more psychologically scary, and even in that regard, I've seen other films do that part better. But overall, it wasn't all that scary. Now, I will say this: the character, the woman in the yard herself, is absolutely unsettling. I want to try and pronounce her name, but I'm afraid that I'm going to absolutely butcher it. But she is striking as this character. I loved her performance in the film. Ultimately, the fifth point that I have here is the ending falls really flat. They get cute at the end, which, when it comes to a horror film, you really don't want to get cute, especially when you've had at least a decent build, and then we have a resolution that doesn't land and really doesn't feel like a resolution. And that's what I'm going to get to in another discussion in another video. But for the sake of this review right now, I'm ready to render my verdict. The Woman in the Yard, for me, is an unapologetically disappointing film. This used to be the basic as fuck rating, but now I'm just calling it unapologetically disappointing, which is what it was. It is a 2 out of 5 for me. Here's the funny part. I'm going to watch this film again because I have some theories about what happens at the end. And I want to see if how the film plays out gives me a hint and really lets me know um, if any of my theories are correct or maybe on track, which again, I'm about to get into in the following segment here. Um, but yeah, that's it for me. It's a 2 out of 5, unapologetically disappointing. And I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. With that being said, I'm not sure if I would like spend money to go and see this. Like whenever it's on streaming, at that point, I would say, yeah, check it out. But no, man, it was disappointing, highly disappointing, and that's a shame.
U-GeekTV.